We're going to start our video this morning with this Optimus video showing his viewpoint as he walks around the factory, showing that multiple bots can build an understanding of their surrounding together. They can tap into that multiple understanding for navigation. They can also navigate to the workstation. They can also dock themselves into a recharging station and then head back to work later. All of this being done autonomously. It can pick up a significant payload up to 11 kilograms now and take it to wherever it is for the next workstation. Doesn't overheat it, doesn't create any kind of problems. Obviously, we're looking at going upstairs and other kinds of non-flat terrains being possible. And they've trained it to interact with people. You can see that it's even responding and asking questions as it goes. How many does it want? Does it want more than one, etc.? So these are new skills and all learned by a single neural net, also running in real time on the Optimus embedded computer. All right, let me stop sharing. It seems like I've turned off the video somewhere along the line. Don't know how I did that. All right, so how can the stock be down? Whoops. How can this, something is wrong with my system here. How is it possible that the stock is down this morning, given all of that, as I try to figure out how to operate my machine? That's very hard to understand. I'm having a very great deal of difficulty understanding the stock being down given that video. All right, but let's talk about what else is going on. We got Milan Kovac from Optimus Engineering. He says this morning about that video, while we were busy making its walk more robust for 1010, we've also been working on additional pieces of autonomy for Optimus. The absence of useful GPS in most indoor environments makes visual navigation central for humanoids. Using its 2D cameras, Optimus can now navigate new places autonomously while avoiding obstacles as it stores distinctive visual features in our cloud. And it can do this while carrying significant payloads. With this, Optimus can autonomously head to a charging station, dock itself. That requires a precise alignment and charge as long as necessary. Our work on autopilot has greatly boosted these efforts. The same technology is used in both the car and the bot, and barring some details, and of course, the data set needed to train the bot's AI. Separately, we've also started tackling non-flat terrain and stairs. Finally, Optimus started learning to interact with humans, and that's what we just saw. All neural nets currently used by Optimus run on the embedded computer. He says there's still a lot of work ahead, but it's exciting times. Now, I scan the news every day. There's a little bit of news out there that might cause the stock to be a little off this morning, but compared to that video of Optimus, holy mackerel, it should be up 10 points. Says, so my view right now is that Tesla investors seem hesitant to buy prior to earnings. You see, what we're seeing right now is not much volatility. All the volatility is gone. After the We robot, there's not any big catalysts other than something like that video from Optimus, which is a pretty darn good video. But my thinking is that everybody's looking towards next Wednesday, and maybe we're not going to see a lot of volatility until then. What kind of other things could we be looking forward in terms of catalysts? Well, we could get a Juniper. We could get a Generation 2.5 news, but I don't think we will. I don't think we'll see that. It could be until January before any of that happens. We could get an amazing version of FSD, like version 13, and maybe it's just a huge difference, but the differences now are pretty incremental and not as easy to show, except if we had data. And we're not going to be looking at unsupervised until the middle of next year, which would, of course, be a massive opportunity for a stock move. Partnerships, licensing deals, of course, these could happen at any moment, but nothing's even being hinted at this point. So we could see a much flatter chart for a while. We got Zacks coming in this morning with their consensus estimate for next Wednesday, expected to post quarterly earnings of 58 cents. That's low compared to some of the other things we're seeing. Other consensus reports have been 60, 67 cents. We've seen some people coming in as high as 70, but in terms of a consensus, this is the lowest consensus I've seen at 0.58, 58 cents a share. And this is actually above AJ's number. I think he's at 50 cents. So this Zacks consensus estimate could be something that's impacting the markets this morning. They say that revenues are expected on average to be at 25.57 billion, up 9.5 from a year ago. Now, this is another thing that might be causing a little hesitation out in the market this morning. Dylan Loomis did a detailed analysis of regulations at the federal and state level that might impact any robotaxi business. He believes that he believes that NHTSA has a limit of 2,500 vehicles per year, which can be deployed under their current rules, and they're working on changing that, but they haven't changed it yet. And the next most likely time for them to change it would be May. In the meantime, there is a possibility, a potential for companies to come in and ask NHTSA to set aside that 2,500 limit for, based on, a proof that the capabilities are there. Apparently, Tesla has not applied for that set aside, at least not yet. Dylan also pointed to rules in California that would need to be passed, that Tesla would need to apply for and get permission from California, which is one of the two states Elon said that they're going to be starting out in. But as far as can be determined, Tesla has not applied for those permits to allow Tesla to run an unsupervised robotaxi service either. So I will put a card up at the end for you to check out Dylan's electrified channel if you'd like to see more details on that. And then Jalopnik is also reporting on these issues today. If you want to look at their article, it's not as detailed, however, as was the reporting from Dylan Loomis on electrified. All right, this is Randy Kirk. Please hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit notify. Even push the like button if you can't believe how fumble-fingered I was at the beginning of that video. Once again, the tech just got me. And then joining Patreon would be a big help right now as we get into the fourth quarter. We've got, in terms of notification, you're probably going to guess that I'm expecting Cern Basher. Now, Cern's on the road, traveling from South Florida all the way to Calgary. He's been keeping detailed records of his travels. I'm guessing he had plenty of time, overnight to prepare something for today, but I don't have an absolute certainty that Cern will be on later. But believe me, I've got plenty to talk about if Cern can't be on today, but I'm expecting him to be here. I also know that Bradford Ferguson has a lot to talk about tonight, so you can count on the fact he'll be on later today when we talk about the good news. The good news is already in. With that Optimus video, the good news is already in. All right. If you can believe the statistics of the past couple of weeks coming out of the federal government, from the Fed itself and from other organizations, the economy seems to be doing a lot better than the average citizen thinks it is. We've talked about the two economies. But the bond market, again, this morning is believing those stats. They're believing new stats out this morning, and the interest rates are going up, back, almost hitting back up to 4.1 on the 10-year bond. That is not good news. I'm saying that the Fed cut in November is definitely in danger now, but the market doesn't care. It's going crazy, and there has been some speculation on Wall Street this morning, or in articles about Wall Street this morning, that there's too much exuberance, that the stock market is way out over its skis. Well, let's start with this. We have TSMC reporting this morning, according to Gary Black, third quarter results that exceeded consensus and forecast. Fourth quarter sales well ahead of expectations. Their outlook should help allay any concerns that investors overestimated AI and superconductor demand. These fears crystallized after chip manufacturer ASML Holdings stunned markets earlier this week by reporting about half the orders Wall Street had expected. They are a primary manufacturer of AI chips for NVIDIA. And that did, of course, hurt all markets earlier this week. The 𝐄𝐦𝐚𝐲 letter out this morning says median asking rent prices for new apartments in the U.S. fell 6.2% year over year in Q2 compared to Q3. In Q2 2024, the lowest level since Q3 2021. So these are really old numbers, Q2 2024. So third quarter apparently not out yet. This is the second consecutive quarter of annual declines. Now, this is median rent prices. I think it's a good number to pay attention to, but you can't get a lot from median rent increases on new buildings, new facilities. But it indicates a lot of building has taken place. We know this. A lot of new apartments are out there. And so in order to get those rented, apparently the median price is down. Now, that could also mean that those is where the apartments are being built. The people are building apartments for that category of individuals, the people in that lower rent spaces. Anyway, 𝐄𝐦𝐚𝐲 says rent prices are finally cooling off. Well, we've seen that for a year at least now. Every indication is that rent prices have been cooling off, so it's not new. In the week ending October 12th, the advance figure for seasonally adjusted initial claims for unemployment was 241. That's a decrease of 19,000 from the previous week, which was revised up, but only by 2,000 to 260,000. The 4-week moving average was 236, which is an increase of 4,750 from the last week's average. And then the total number of continuing weeks claims was also up to 1.637 from 1.579. So that would indicate some softness in employment. That would be the only number right now that we're seeing that is showing, I mean, in the last couple of days, that's really showing much softness. Now, the retail sales are showing the opposite. This is from MarketWatch. Retail sales increased 0.4% in September, with increases in a broad range of categories, according to the Commerce Department. Economists had expected a 0.3% gain. Sales rose 0.5% if you take out autos, which obviously did not increase as much as the overall retail business did. In August, retail sales only went up 0.1%, and that was unrevised. So retail sales doing extremely well, according to the Commerce Department, if we can believe the numbers. Right now, it's so hard to believe the numbers. Also from MarketWatch this morning, industrial production fell 0.3% in September, according to the Philadelphia Fed. That gain was below expectations of a 0.2% fall, according to a survey by the Wall Street Journal. Capacity utilization also slipped to 77.5 in September from 77.8 in the prior month. So that's a little bit of softness, but we also saw the number coming in from the New York area, which was okay. So yeah, it's really hard to call right now. One thing that's impacting these numbers would be the Boeing strike and also the hurricanes. They're thinking that reduced the number by up to 0.6%, which would have given us a much stronger number without those two things taking place. We also have this from MarketWatch. I'm sorry, I said that was Philadelphia information. All that information I just told you was general national information about capacity utilization and overall industrial production. So overall, nationwide industrial production fell 0.3%, but would have been up 0.3% if it wasn't for the hurricane and the Boeing strike. Now, of course, hurricanes and Boeing strike are things that you have to take into consideration if you're looking at the economy and where it's heading. Okay, then from the Philadelphia Fed, I'm so sorry about that goof. The Philadelphia Fed said Thursday its gauge of regional business activity rose to 10.3 from 1.7 the prior month, and anything above 0 is positive and improving. This is the second consecutive increase in the index, but the economists had thought it would only be up to 3, so this is a much better, this is a major beat in that category. New orders rose to 14.2 from a negative the prior month. Shipments index jumped to 7.4 from a negative 14 in September, and the measure of 6-month business outlook surged to 36.7 from 15.8 in the prior month. All big numbers. Then we have this from the NAHB, National Association of Home Builders. With inflation gradually easing and builders anticipating mortgage rates will moderate in coming months, builders' sentiment moved higher for a second consecutive month, despite challenging affordability conditions. Builder confidence in the market for newly built single-family homes was 43 in October, up 2 points from 41 in September, according to the association. While housing affordability remains low, builders are feeling more optimistic about 2025 market conditions, according to Carl Harris, the chairman of the NAHB. The wild card for the outlook remains the election, and with housing policy a top-tier issue for candidates, policymakers should be focused on supply-side solutions to the housing crisis. Despite the beginning of the Fed's easing cycle, many prospective home buyers remain on the sideline because interest rates really haven't come down. They came down from 8 to like 6, but now they're going back up again. And what's going on right now in the bond market, they're not going to be coming down, at least not soon, unless we get some better numbers. Maybe we'll get some great numbers from the PCE, but that's still 2 weeks away. The latest HMI survey also revealed that the share of builders cutting prices held steady at 32%. Meanwhile, the average price reduction returned to the long-term trend of 6% after dropping to 5%. The use of sales incentives was 62%, slightly up. So overall, a pretty good report from the NAHB. So where does that leave us in terms of markets this morning? Let's start, as we always do, with Tesla. It's been moving up and down. It was actually up in the pre-market, then immediately went down when the market opened. We're now looking at only down 1.25, so maybe the Optimus video is getting some kind of coverage right now. The Dow is only up 96. It had been up a lot more. NASDAQ was also up more, is now up 75. S&P up 14.78. All three of those were up more and coming down. Tesla was down more and coming up. So a lot of movement, plus and minus. The overall situation with the Magnificent Seven would be that we have Google and Amazon down a tad. The rest are up, with NVIDIA up 368, probably having to do a little bit with that news from Taiwan Semiconductor. Then we've got the Cathie Woods all down. Why do you think that is? Well, that would be the bond numbers. And maybe Tesla's responding a little bit to those bond numbers as well, because, again, Tesla benefits from interest rates dropping, definitely doesn't benefit if interest rates are going up. All right, so let's go ahead percentage-wise for those who care. And by the way, I believe percentages are the better way to look at everything. 0.24 for the Dow Jones up, NASDAQ up 0.41, S&P up 0.26, and Tesla down 0.66 of 1%. All right, let's go ahead and look at the bonds now that I've been talking about. We've got the 10-year up 7.3 basis points this morning at 4.089. It has been over 4.1 at certain points earlier, so modifying just a tad, but not much. We have got the 2-year up 5 basis points. The 3-month up 2 basis points, and actually the 2-month down. There you go. So, but only fractionally 0.3 of a basis point. But that's what I've been talking about all morning, is these 10-year bonds being up so strongly. Okay, the oils, we have oil up 50 cents, 49 cents. In Texas, we've got it up 34 cents in Brent, and that would be $70.88 for Texas Intermediate, and $74.54 for Brent. Natural gas also up 0.84% this morning at $2.38. So all of those up slightly this morning. No real, nothing really, I think, to report on there. I think it's maybe a response to how much it's come down, but I'm not sure of that. I would just say a nothing burger right now. Gold up 14, over 2,700 again, 2,705. Silver, on the other hand, is down a little bit, 0.36 at 31.86. Still, I mean, that's still a very strong number for silver. Copper down 0.56 at $4.34, which is been trending down for a week now. The euro the dollar is down against the euro, 0.43, up against the yen, 0.26. You've got Bitcoin down 840, 66,914 is where Bitcoin is sitting this morning. So, what does all that mean? What does it all mean? Yes, the meaning of life is that Tesla is still down $1.63. Okay, so please, here is the Dylan Loomis video. If you'd like to go take a look at that. I can't believe that Tesla is still down this morning. That video from Optimus is amazing. I might have to see if Scott Walter would like to do another video with me this week. I'll try to hit up Scott and see if he's available. My guess would be that everybody and their third cousin right now has already hit up Scott to do something about that video. But anyway, we'll see if I can round him up. And then later today, I would expect a Cern Basher video around the noon hour, and then of course, we will have Bradford Ferguson on to bring in the good news tonight. Thank you so much for hitting the like button. Thank you so much for helping me to hit 9 million views. Yes. Thank you very much for that. And then if you wouldn't mind contributing even $3 a month to the cause, if you will, head on down, look at the description below, and you can go over to Patreon and take care of that business. Okay, that's all I got. Need to get this up. It's been great talking to you. If I can find the closer button here. What have they done? What's happened here?